The book of Revelations cannot be understood unless you have critical information, such as when does the rapture occur, who will the Antichrist call himself, according to Thessalonians, who will the 10 toes and 10 horns be within the Antichrist kingdom, and once you have that fact, that begins to open up the book of Revelation. But also an important part of the book of Revelation is the timeline. How long will the book of Revelation last? Will it be 7 years or will it be longer than 7 years? I'm here to tell you it will be longer than 7 years. In fact, it will be 142 years, and it's based on the number 2520, according to this chart here. And God showed me years ago that this number, which is tied to Daniel 9:27, it's the number of days within the 7-year period, which is 2,520 days, but God showed me that it was a timeline of years. So we can see that this 2,520 years lunar connects 587, the destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonians, to 1897, 536, King Cyrus of Persia, who defeated Babylon, told the Jews that they can return on August 3rd, and they returned on May 14th, 1948, exactly 2,520 years to the day. And 517, which is when the Jews finished the temple, it's connected to 1967, the year the Jews got the Temple Mount. This final prophecy here, this is when the Jews were told to go back to Jerusalem and finish building the wall and the city. The temple was finished here, but the walls and the city itself was not. They went back and they did that, and that will end on 2039. These three have been fulfilled. This one is still a future. It's theory. So let's get to it. Here we have two graphs. The 2520 I just showed you, there is the BC years, there is the AD years, 587, 1897, it's all connected to the timeline, 536 to 1948, 517 and 1967, and the future one, which started in 445, will be accomplished in 2039, okay? We're in the year 2020, obviously. Things are heating up, so as we get closer to 2039, which is when the rider on the white horse, Jesus Christ, comes back, he'll take control of the earth. We're getting closer to that, and that's where this happens. So something big has to happen on this year. We don't know what, right? Here I say it's Zionism. Well, it is Zionism. Jesus Christ, who is the Zionist, comes riding on a white horse. A few chapters earlier, we see him on Mount Zion with the 144,000. So Jesus Christ, who's coming to restore the Jews to the state of Israel in full number. Everybody's going to come back. Right now it's a part number. Opens up the first seal, which the riddle of the first seal is who is the rider on the white horse. That rider fulfilled this timeline. What happened in 1897? Theodore Herzl happened in 1897. He is the founder, he is the father of the modern state of Israel and Zionism. He kick-started everything after 1,800 years of doing nothing, no accomplishments whatsoever when it came to the regathering of the Jew. It wasn't even in their mind, although they prayed it quite often on holidays, holy days. But the Jew did not get that implanted into their mind until Theodore Herzl came on the scene. He fulfills the first seal. The second seal is the rider on the red horse. Remember, each seal is a riddle. The rider on the red horse, red is the color of socialism. He's coming to kill. There's going to be much death as a result of the rider on the red horse. That rider is socialism, communism, and that happened when the Bolshevik Revolution and Lenin took over Moscow and the government and implemented communism, which was turned into the Soviet Union, and Stalin had control after him. That is the second seal. The third seal is the black horse. Black meaning is the color of capitalism. When you're in the black, you're in the profit. It's everybody's goal to become profitable. And so when that seal was opened, a stock market crash, it was called Black Tuesday. It was false, fake, everything that was building up to that time allowed the stock market to collapse. And that caused the Great Depression. This is the third seal. The fourth seal is the green horse. It comes from the word chloroform in the Greek, and we've always said it was pale. It's not pale, it's green. You can go look it up. The green is the color of Islam, and when that horse rode, it rode as a result of World War I, and all these were the result of World War I. They're all isms. All of them are isms: Zionism, socialism, communism, capitalism, and this one, Islamism. When the Ottoman Empire collapsed, that was fulfilled prophecy. The Ottoman Empire was the seventh head on the seven-headed beast that the Whore of Babylon rode, and from that head comes 10 countries, 10 horns. And what happened was the agreement that was hammered out between two men, Sykes and Picot, from Great Britain and France. They divided up the Middle East, and from the divided Middle East came 10 Arab states. The 10 Arab states had never existed before. They are the sons of Ishmael. And so here we have 5 of those states right here, Saudi Arabia and Iraq being the first 2. Iraq is where ancient Babylon was. Saudi Arabia is where the religious center is of Mecca and Medina. And then 46 came Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. Right after them came Israel in 1948. Israel was brought in by the Armistice Agreement. The United Nations, actually Israel was brought in through the United Nations. World War II, the killing of 6 million Jews. The world had empathy. The United Nations said yes to the United States and Russia saying yes to backing the Israel nation. And so there you had the Israel state. After that came 5 more Arab states: Kuwait, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Bahrain, being the last one in 1971. So you had the 10 toes of Daniel 2 and the 10 horns of Daniel and Revelation, all coming in 5 before and 5 after Israel, and the tetrad blood moon of 1949 that fell within the 2520 of 1948. Okay, so we got to keep moving on fast. Trumpet 1. I have it, Trumpet 1 here as 1939. It could also be the World War I. 39, Hitler implemented scorched earth, but in World War I, they had trench warfare. There was great scorched earth. The prophecy of the Trumpet 1 says that there's hail mixed with fire and blood that falls to the earth. The hail, I believe, is bullets, fiery bullets. Bullets were invented a few years before that, and tank shells. They were raining all over the cotton-picking place. The war was messy. It was back and forth. There were trenches. It was like there's quotes saying that from people who had been there that it was hell on earth. There was no green trees, no green grass, and that's exactly what the prophecy says. A third of the trees are burnt up and dead, and the green grass is burnt up. Scorched earth, either World War II or World War I. I'm leaning towards World War I now. I've kind of changed in my mind, but either or, that's the first trumpet. The second trumpet has to do with a large stone falling into the sea. That stone, I believe, is a large mountain is America. A mountain in the Old Testament was referred to Babylon. America was tossed into the sea when the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor, attacked our fleet, bringing us into World War II. From that point on, the prophecy says that a third of the ships have to be destroyed and a third of marine life that has life in their lungs. That's what it doesn't say lungs, but it says it had life in them. When you go to the Greek, it's mammals. So the death of the whale and the death of 1/3 of the whales would be a great sign, and that's exactly what happened. 1/3 of the whales died, and I have documentation of that from 1930s to 1950. 3 million whales were killed. They were killed for transmission fluid, but also machinery. It was an additive added to the fluid, and it kept the transmissions cool. But more whales died in the 20th century than all the previous centuries combined. And it was the death of the whale that was triggered by World War II. So 1/3 of the mountains were destroyed. You can go on Google and see that 111,000, 1/3 of the ships were destroyed. 111,000 ships were destroyed, were in existence in World War II that were fighting the war. And of those 111, 34,000 were sunk or were damaged. The next trumpet is Chernobyl. The Chernobyl nuclear incident is what John the Revelator saw. He saw a great star fall from heaven. Chernobyl, the reactor, blew out the graphite core, which was encased in a concrete steel esophagus. The lid of that esophagus blew off the top into the air. The graphite core went into many pebbles into the air, all contaminated, all flaming, coming back down to earth. They had a lot of rain right in the days prevailing, and the rain caught the nuclear pollution and brought it into the streams and the lakes, polluting it. The scripture says many people died, and over 3,000 people died as a result of Chernobyl. So many people died. So that is the third trumpet. The fourth and the fifth trumpet are the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Gulf War. And all of these trumpets have to do with Israel. The Feast of Trumpets in the Old Testament is being fulfilled by the trumpets of Revelation. And the trumpets all are there for one purpose. It's to bring Israel to repentance. So here we have Israel being affected by this. 6 million Jews here. In Ukraine, the Jews were religious Judaism was birthed in Ukraine, and that's the ultra-Orthodox with the fuzzy hats, the ones that bow like a reed in front of the Western Wall. And of course, all the trumpets have to do with the Jews. Do your research, look at it. I'm running out of time. 2014, we had ISIS, another blood moon tetrad. ISIS went into the Middle East, killing Christians, beheading them, crucifying them. They formed a caliphate. That would be the cry that everybody was talking. All the people of the saints that were martyred in that fifth seal, they're crying out to God, when will you judge the people that have killed us? And he said, it's not time to judge. And the time is when more of the martyrs come in, and that will be reserved for the end time when more of the martyrs are martyred by beheading here. When the final number comes in, then God will judge it. It'll all coincide with the rider on the white horse. I'm down to just a few minutes here, a minute and a half. So there we have it. And to sum it all up very quickly, the 25-20 timeline begin in 1897 with the rider on the white horse, which is Zionism and Theodor Herzl, and it ends with the rider on the white horse, which is Jesus Christ at the second coming. And in between the 20th century and the early 21st century is the fulfillment of Revelation. Right now there's 18 and a half years left until 2039 and the second rider of the white horse